You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we are here to preview the T20 World Cup. That gets underway in just 5 days' time, so we're going to have to be quick to get through all the teams in time. I'm Jack Hope. I'm joined by Max Rowe-Brown and Ross Legg. Welcome to the pod, boys. We'll say hello to Ross first. How are you doing on this Monday evening?
Marvellous. Looking forward to another edition of the T20 International Men's World Cup. It'll be Paul Sterling's 9th edition when he plays for Ireland this year. So if you like those kind of stats, stay tuned.
That's great. Very much the Paolo one-shop of T20 international cricket. Max Rowe-Brown, you're also here. Have you got any stats and facts to kick the show off with?
No, nothing quite as good as that. That's a good opener from Ross. I'm just trying to battle the ennui of yet another T20 World Cup. I mean, I'm really excited for this T20 World Cup because Test cricket is boring.
It's a bit like, I think, but these things have basically become their own franchise tournament, just with different teams. We should just lean into it and accept it. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go through each of the teams in Group A and B on this podcast. We've got a few minutes on each. We'll be rating their batting, bowling, and all-rounder units, discussing strengths and weaknesses, and comparing them to a famous artist. It should be a lot of fun. Before we get into it, though, just a reminder to click like and subscribe on whichever platform you are listening or watching on. Boys, I think we should start with the hosts, the big boys, the literal hosts of most of the tournament, but also sort of the hosts of cricket as a whole. India, that's what I'm talking about. They will be coached by Gautam Gambhir and captained by Surya Kumar Yadav. They've got lots of good players. India, this is what you need to know. I'm not going to go through the whole squad. I'm going to make a big assumption here that if you're listening to the Cricket Podcast, you're generally aware of who is in each of these squads. So I'm not going to go through a list of names. And I'm also going to go through and make an assumption that you have Google. So if you're unsure, you can just quickly look it up and verify that everything that we're saying is correct, or check who the 15th man in each squad is.
Just take whatever we're saying as read.
What I would say is pretty much all of the usual suspects made it into the 15 men, with the exception of Shubman Gill, who was odd man out. Ironically, India have sort of ended up in a situation where they're now kind of discussing who will open the batting, but the two options they've got are kind of fine. they're not gonna have any problems. This is Ishan Kishan and Sanju Samson lining up with Abhishek Sharma as the other guy. They are good, is the upshot, and I would throw it over to you to start things off with by asking, fellas, is this the best T20 team we have ever seen? Max, you can answer that first.
Are we talking internationals?
Yeah, well, any. I'm thinking that they might be. I'm going big early. First few minutes of the podcast, I'm declaring India the greatest ever. Am I correct?
No, because their coach is Gautam Gambhir. If they had a proper coach, there's every chance that they could be the best T20 team in the world in the relatively short history of T20 cricket. But I mean, I'm pretty sure they rocked up in some of the warm-up games with Harshit Rana batting at 7. And when you've got the embarrassment of riches that you have in a T20 squad that India have, the amount of quality and ability to then end up in a situation where your number 7 is Harshit Rana is insane and should be called out. So they could be, but they're not. That's my answer.
Fair enough. Ross, you get to make the prosecution case. India, the greatest team that have ever walked the earth. Am I correct?
I'm also going to agree with Max, actually, Jack, and say that you're wrong.
Oh.
There's not the sex appeal. The West Indies side that won the T20, that was a better team. I just thoroughly enjoyed that team. And unfortunately, it's not quite doing it for me yet.
Look, here's what I would say. That you can make an argument about that West Indies team. I think that's fair. At the time, they were pretty good. I would say T20 has developed pretty quickly, and India have developed the fastest of all the teams. It's really not that long ago on this podcast we were saying that they were kind of also runs, played an ancient brand of the format and weren't that good, and all of that has transformed. They have a collection of absolute weapons, and I think that they're mega favourites for this tournament. Obviously, they're at home, so that helps. And I'm sure there'll be a bunch of shenanigans go with it. Seems like they're going to start the tournament on 2 points. And we'll get into that maybe when we as we go through. I'll say at this point, we're not doing like a special segment on India v Pakistan politics and cricket. It will come up through this, but like
life's too
we
short.
know better. We know better than to get involved.
You do this. This happens all the fucking time. It's an escalation thing. Like if you refuse to play each other bilaterally, and then you've refused to travel for some tournaments, and you refuse this, that, and the other. Like eventually, someone presses the nuclear. Probably not the best word to use in this particular circumstances. Someone uses the nuclear option in cricketing terms, and just refuses to play altogether, and we end up in this situation. Like this is if you continue to escalate a situation, this is what happens, and it is a farce for everyone. That's all I'll say on that. Probably this whole podcast, and other people have got bits to say. Chip in when you like. But back to India, I think they are pretty good. They're going to start on 2 points, and everything's good. What we said we would do, we've segued a little bit, is rate their batting, bowling, and all rounding. And I've gone for a 5 for each. If you're sort of one of those people who've maybe been following the Ashes and now this is the next cricket on, and it does come at a nice point in the sporting calendar. Say what you want about this particular iteration of the tournament. Not a lot happens in February in sport, I would say. Super Bowl, and then it's sort of like nothing for quite a long time. So it's a good time to play an international tournament. So maybe you're tuning in for that. If you're not like super aware of T20 cricket, this India team, they've been on a tear for a while. They've been smashing everyone, apart from one time against New Zealand, scoring over 200 runs for fun. They've got a guy called Abhishek Sharma who's just phenomenal opening the batting. They've got Surya Kumar Yadav, who's probably the best T20 all-round batting package in the game. They've got guys who can adapt to different conditions, who can play in different ways. They've got the best all-rounder. They're great. I've gone. Yeah. I've gone rating the units out of 5 for each. I've gone 5 for batting, 5 for bowling. I forgot to mention that they have Jasprit Bumrah and Chakravarti, the current #1 bowler in the world, and Arshdeep Singh, who has a better bowling record in international cricket than Bumrah. And they're all-rounders, also a 5. So I've gone 5, 5, 5. Anyone want to dispute that? Like, I'm trying to make a case for India being really good here. I think they're probably almost odds-on favourite for the tournament. It's like peak Tiger Woods. It's Tiger Woods versus the rest of the field, if you want to make a bet. Like, this tournament for me is India versus the rest of the field. I can't see a weakness, apart from maybe the coach, but I think he'll be sidelined by the players because they're so good. Anyone want to debate any of what I've just said?
I mean, I've only got one debate, is that you said that you weren't going to go through player by player, and you've literally just done that. So that made me laugh. But other than that,
I haven't done an 11.
It's a pretty strong team.
I haven't even mentioned vice captain Akshar Patel batting at 8.
They've also got every possible advantage they could possibly imagine. Right, it's a home tournament for them. They've one of the other team that is supposed to be in there as nearly an equal has already forfeited. They're
in their group,
and they're already that part where they probably know where they're all playing. They've got it's the best hotel. They've got everything's just great. So this is it's always a bit strange, but India do have an embarrassment of riches, and the talent is unquestionable. But sometimes it is still going to rub fans up the wrong way on at least 2 of the countries who are in Pakistan and Bangladesh, let alone all the other people. So they are very, very strong, but I will not be kind of cheering them on. I want an underdog story.
I think emotionally, Ross, that's probably true. Like I think it has to be said, and I'm sure India will cop a lot of flack and probably deserve a little bit of that flack through this tournament. but the strength of the players should not be doubted. And I think that case should be made early and strongly. This is an exceptional team, and if they do win the World Cup, it won't be because of hijinks. I think they probably win this World Cup anywhere in the world. I mean, they won the last one, and
I think that's what makes some of the hijinks so silly, isn't it? Some of the, or at least the perceived hijinks. But was the all the stuff in the 50 over World Cup with the pitches and all that, like changing the pitch at the last minute. You don't need to do any of it, because just let the players play and be good, and don't add distractions that could actually end up detracting from how good they are and causing problems when when you are that good and arguably that much better than everyone else, and you're at home anyway. Just let it all play out. Just hands off the lovely cricket.
Anyway, I agree. Favourites, big favourites.
Cool. We should probably move on to the other big team in the group then.
Namibia.
Well, wait, no, we haven't done the artist. We haven't done the artist. So we're going to compare each team to an artist. I've gone with the original polymath. India are Leonardo da Vinci. They can paint, they can sculpt, they can even make primitive drawings of a plane. Or was that Michelangelo? It was one of the two.
No, I think it was a helicopter, wasn't it? Da Vinci?
Helicopter. The helicopter was Da Vinci. Cool. They can make a code, like all sorts of stuff. Let's go to Pakistan. We've got to get through quite a few teams per episode, so we should move on. Pakistan, obviously a little bit overshadowed by the stuff. But what else do we know about them, Ross?
So they will be plying their trade in Sri Lanka. So that's very exciting for everybody. A nice little trip to Colombo awaits them, where they'll be facing Netherlands in the opening game of the tournament. The kit, gentlemen, is yellow. Yellow.
I didn't know this.
What? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. Really.
Oh, come on. Hey.
It's green with a fetching pattern of a goat on it.
Nice.
And of course, the Pepsi logo on the sleeve.
That's classic. Yeah, I like
in
that.
terms of captain and
more iconic
in terms of captain and coach. Yeah, it is. I'm surprised they moved Pepsi off the front. Like, they've put a star on across the front. That should just say Pepsi. It should be the what? Yeah. Let's just rename the country Pepsi. In terms of captain and coach, this could all change before. So captain and coach is Mike Hesson and Salman Ali Agha. That could all change before now, middle of the game, afterwards, could all be terrible, but all could be good. And the road to World Cup, they have recently won the series against Australia 3-0, tied with host Sri Lanka before that. So they're a pretty good form, really. Key players, obviously, you've got Shaheen and Naseem in terms of the pacers. Spin-wise is a fun mix of Shadab Khan, Mohamed Nawaz, Abra Ahmed, and Usman Tariq. And then Babar is there. He's the worst batsman in the Big Bash. And he is, unfortunately, going to be there for us. But as they'll be playing on slow and low wickets, and probably their style of T20 cricket is still to hit kind of the anchor innings and all that stuff, it could work out for him. Fakhar Zaman, Saim Ayub, and the skipper will bring the runs. There is no Haris Rauf, who was the leading wicket taker in the Big Bash, because they still blame him for losing the semi-final and final beforehand. Chances, gentlemen, limited, I would say. Limited. You're already going in with a loss. They probably would have lost that game anyway, but it impacts their net run rate quite significantly. So they do take that into consideration. And they're definitely going to lose a random game to the US, Namibia, or Netherlands. So they're already out of the competition.
They've already done it once.
Yeah, surely they'd probably boycott, if they were to get to the final, they'd boycott the final because they wouldn't be wanting to play against India. So their chances of lifting the trophy, because of all kinds of reasons, is limited. Rating-wise, you never really know what you're going to get with lottery Pakistan, but there is some batting. some of the batting can be good at times, but I've given it a 3.5. Bowling also very, very hit or miss depending on what turns up. But the spin bowling contingent can be quite effective. But I've given that also a 3.5. And then fielding, I mean, we have seen the very best from Pakistan and the very worst from Pakistan. So I've actually gone in the middle, 2.5.
Oh, you've even given them a fielding rating. That's very professional, Ross. Yeah, I
like the old school Brian Lara cricket.
So for a little while, Pakistan in T20 cricket had an identity, didn't they? They were kind of like stodgy but dependable with the bat, and if it came off with the ball, they could be a real handful, and that sort of served them well for a little while. This version of Pakistan, I actually think your ratings might have been generous, Ross. Like, I know that they've dispatched Australia fairly handily in the warm-ups, but Australia haven't even bothered picking players that are actually going to the World Cup. Like, they couldn't have rendered, Australia couldn't have rendered those meaningless warm-up matches even more meaningless if they tried. Like, so I don't want to read too much into that. I think I agree with you a little bit. I think there is a decent chance that they could go out in the first round. They weren't going to beat India anyway. That's irrelevant. They only need to get into trouble once against Netherlands, most likely. USA and Namibia, less likely, but still certainly possible, on a slow load pitch in Sri Lanka, or get rained on once. And that could get pretty hairy pretty quickly. Here's a question. Do we know? And the answer to this can be no. I don't think the ICC know, but maybe we know. What happens with the net run rate in the event of a forfeit? Max, you're the sort of person that is...
So it feels like Ross does, because he mentioned it. So maybe he can enlighten us.
Okay.
All 20 overs are taken into consideration. Like, all of it is taken into consideration, the entire game. So it's a massive hit.
They score nothing off 20 overs.
So
yeah, but they get nothing, but they also concede nothing, right? Like, how does that work? Is what I mean.
I don't,
because
I just know it's like it's not a positive for them.
No, but right. So what I'm saying actually is maybe this is a big brave move by Pakistan. I'm reconsidering
rather than lose by 100 runs in 10 overs.
Rather than get absolutely annihilated by India, they take effectively a 0-0 defeat, have a 0 net run rate, and then they only have to beat Namibia and USA, and they can probably lose to the Netherlands and expect that the Netherlands will screw up to India and maybe lose another game somewhere and still get through. It's actually genius when you think about it. Perhaps, I don't know. Do we have anything else on Pakistan we want to say?
I can. I've just looked this up, right? So
yeah,
we live. There are official rulings of how it works. Basically, like Ross said, Pakistan will be deemed to have scored 0 runs off 20 overs when they do the whole calculation, but India's won't be affected.
But that's not how net run rate is worked out. That's what I'm saying. Is I know that. So do what happens with the other 20 overs, or does it just in the calculation, the 20 overs of 0 runs get added on to Pakistan?
Yeah,
and then whatever runs they concede, like, okay, that actually does make sense. Net run rate, I fucking still hate it. I still think it's a stupid call.
It's awful. It's absolutely awful.
There's got to be a better way of differentiating. There has to be a better way of differentiating. But we'll never change it. Packers, do we do the artist before we went off on a net run rate tangent?
I think the artist is Banksy. They're fighting the fight against societal dominance, and they are trying to put a flag up against world kind of like Team America, right? In this analogy, are India. So yeah, I think the graffiti is going to be very much on the wall when they leave the stadium and lose. But yeah, so Banksy it is.
All right, fair enough. Look, we're going to take a quick break there. We've still got 3 more teams in this group and the whole of Group BV.
It's World Cup 2028 will have Group V. Every team in the world.
do sound a little bit the same. So Group B in Spanish. So that's Namibia, USA, and Netherlands coming up in part 2.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast, where we are talking T20 World Cup. We're going through Group A in this part, but the weaker teams, I think that's fair to say, in Group A, Namibia, Netherlands, and USA. Max, we will start with the Netherlands, and you'll be talking us through that. But before we do, just a reminder to people to click like and subscribe and leave a review and all of that jazz. Netherlands, the boys in orange. Max, talk to me.
Yes. And the boys in orange will indeed be turning up in orange, as they so often do. But it's quite a retro look this year. It's nice, it's fetching, it's very orange, and you won't miss them on the screen. They are captained by Scott Edwards, as always, and there's a lot of familiar names from World Cups gone by. They made it to the World Cup this time by virtue of the European qualifier, and having topped their group, they were straight in, having made it to the 2024 World Cup. And as I said, similar names to previous years, the likes of Scott Edwards, the captain, Colin Ackerman, Fred Clarson, all county names you will have heard of. And that means they are okay. As far as minnows go, they're not a bad set of players, and they could, as suggested, cause some issues for Pakistan. On the ratings front, it's not, we're not talking high numbers, but it's not bad. There's no zeros, there's no ones abound. I've given them 2 for their batting. The aforementioned players, Scott Edwards and Colin Ackerman, plenty of experience. They've been to World Cups before. Max O'Dowd at the top of the order as well. Plenty of international experience in world tournaments. So they're no mugs with the bat. But they haven't got great firepower. There's no one in there really with a strike rate that's much above the mid 120s. So they're not going to go out there and surprise you with a 200 odd. I wouldn't have thought. But they do have 22-year-old Michael Levitt into the squad. He does actually strike at 142 in T20s at an average of 36, which is good numbers. But if you look at who he's done it against, that's a slightly different story. Can he make the step up? We will see. He did score 86 off 53 against Nepal. They're okay. They're not a terrible team, but that's what we're talking. That's the level we're talking. So questions about whether that's really going to translate into victories in their group. Bowling wise, also a 2. A lot of experience again. Like I said, Fred Clarson, Tim van der Gugden, both county players, both experienced, and no one is more experienced in this Netherlands side than 41-year-old Roelof van der Merwe, who they will be relying on in the spin department. Any side is better with the presence of old Roelof. He's a character. His facial expressions are off the chain, and he's always good value. So I'm looking forward to seeing him out there in the orange once again. And can you guess what I've given them for the all-rounders?
2.
No, 2.5.
3. Oh,
2.5. Because they're decent with the all rounders. That Colin Ackerman will probably bowl a bit of spin, especially if you're thinking first game in Colombo against Pakistan, as Ross said. They've got Van der Merwe, Baz de Leader as well. We'll remember his exploits with the super over against the West Indies a few years back. So they've got depth, and the all-rounders they have give them the ability to mix things up. They can keep things flexible, and they'll have lots of bowling options as well. So it means they can be nimble in games, and I think that'll be a useful thing for them, particularly when they come up against the likes of Namibia and the USA. They start off in Colombo, and then they move over to India for their next 3 group games. And chances wise, I think they'll be competitive. They'll be competitive. Like Namibia and USA, obviously they'll fancy themselves to get something out of those. And with a bit of luck against Pakistan, then maybe they could sneak through. They've had upsets before. They beat South Africa in the 50-over World Cup not so long ago. That was pretty impressive. Yeah. I don't think they will do it, but they are more likely, I think, than the other two in the group. I think they've got half a chance of making it through to the next stage of the next group stage of the next World Cup. What do you guys think on the Netherlands? Are you bullish or are you bearish?
I would have them rated them a little bit higher than you.
Yeah.
Personally, I think their batting is obviously weak compared to the major cricketing nations. I don't think they come in super underpowered on the bowling side. It all hinges really for them, doesn't it? They have to beat Namibia and USA. I can't fuck up those. If they do that, then they have a shootout game against an extremely volatile Pakistan.
Yeah.
It's really conceivable that Pakistan blow that. Like they're clearly they're a worse cricket team than Pakistan, but they're not that much worse. Like this team, as opposed to like USA and Namibia, this team are full of actual professional cricketers. Like they're good players. So I know USA and Namibia technically have professional cricketers, but also kind of not really, if you know what I mean. I think Netherlands are all right. Probably they're going to go out in this round, but they at least, them being in this group, at least makes a couple of the games interesting. So I'm all for that. What do you think, Ross?
I think they're rubbish.
Okay. There we go. Let's get the artist out of the way and we'll move on.
Yeah, well, it's a Dutch team, isn't it? So there's only one name that we could come up with, and it's more of a case of trying to fit a narrative to the name than find a name that fits the narrative. And that means we've got Vincent van Gogh. Who else could it be? Van Gogh, whatever you wanna say. He is known for his short, stuttering brushstrokes, and that may be a good metaphor for a Dutch batting innings. And at 37, Van Gogh's innings was over all too young, and that may well be the case for the Dutch side in this tournament. So there you go. Vincent van Gogh.
Actually,
in orange.
Yeah. Lots of a narratively rich pairing, I would say there. Let's do USA. USA. I think it's fair to say that cricket in the USA, at least at board level, is in disarray. It's an absolute shambles.
They're the only people who can hold a candle to Pakistan, aren't they? With board shenanigans.
And boy, do they give that a go! Their captain's going to be Monank Patel. They'll be playing in a blue kit because America. They're taking. If you want to look at some good sides, they're taking 10 players who played in the 2024 World Cup to this World Cup. They would have been taking 11, but their previous best batter, Aaron Jones, I think it's Aaron Jones, has been suspended pending an anti-corruption charge. So that's obviously a blow. But they are taking some people with experience of playing in a T20 World Cup to this one, which is obviously a good thing. And in amongst that, they have got a handful of decent players. People who follow the American T20 tournament will know all about Netravolka, the opening bowler. He's decent. Andries Goose. I think it's Goose. I'm going to call him the Goose. He's not a bad bat. The rest of it is I think, reasonably speaking, going to be mixed. They've done.
Have they got a Maverick?
Maybe we'll see. Probably not. Would be my guess. Yeah, probably not. They have. We're talking about experience here. They're trying to give themselves, despite their board being an absolute shit show and one of their best players being suspended. They are trying to give themselves the best chance. They've been in the subcontinent doing an extended training camp in Sri Lanka to acclimatise themselves to spin-friendly conditions. It's probably a good thing, but also tells you that maybe they've realised that they don't really have any experience in these conditions, and these could be quite difficult. At least among the guys who didn't grow up there. A few of the team did actually come from the subcontinent. Talking about some other good bits, they've managed to parachute in former Sri Lankan international Shehan Jayasuriya. I presume They tried to get the good Jayasuriya and ended up with him.
He's busy coaching Sri Lanka.
But that's good. And if you're looking for another guy who might do something, Shubham Ranjane is a guy who played quite a lot of domestic cricket in India. There's no reason for anyone outside of like the biggest stands of Indian domestic cricket to know about him, but yeah, he has some credentials, I would say.
It wasn't Arunachal Pradesh, was it?
I don't believe so. No. So he's at least not playing for the worst team in Indian domestic cricket. Weaknesses wise, I've said the board. I've said the loss of Aaron Jones. I'd say like the talent is the other weakness. As opposed to the Netherlands, who I think are actually capable of doing good cricket. It won't always happen, as you said, Max. In your comparison to the artists, they will crumble sometimes. I think the USA doing any good cricket would be a little bit of a surprise. I think at home, buoyed by like a lot of investment into that tournament, I think they were able to pull together some good results. I don't get the sense that they're in as good a position here, and I probably expect them to lose every single game. I've rated them as follows. I've been more generous with myself. See, Max, I didn't know that 0 was an option, so 1 is the lowest option. Batting,
okay.
1. Bowling, I've gone for a 2. It's a little bit better than their batting. And
you said this was generous.
I think that is generous. I think that's very generous.
Yeah. All-rounders on the back of Harmeet Singh, who I actually think is fairly decent and is listed as an all-rounder, and Shehan Jayasuriya, who once played for Sri Lanka, so therefore must be at least capable. I've given them a 2 as well. But if 0 was available, I would have gone for 0, 1, and 1. I just want the record to show that. Like I think this team are really bad. Anyone want to weigh in on USA? I'm glad they're here. I do think USA at a tournament adds something. But this is Shambles Cricket Club. Like, probably more shambolic than even Pakistan, I would say. Anyone want to add anything?
I'd give him bonus points for Shadley Van Schalkwyk just because his name is fantastic, and that's about all I can add on the USA. I think, they're not as exciting as what as when they were hosting, and I think that's largely because of not being able to borrow quite as many people as they did first time round.
Artist, I went for Jeff Koons. Do you guys know who Jeff Koons is?
Please enlighten me.
Contemporary artist, does loads of stuff, which for some people have argued successfully is stolen. My argument here is that my argument here is that the USA have stolen most of their players. Similarly to Jeff Koons, probably won't go down in history as one of the greats. But they're here, and that's the main thing. There's no reason to be nice about all of these teams. Like,
no.
We've done this podcast for long enough. We've tried to be generous enough for long enough to do this. If you're gonna put on a T20 World Cup every 18 months, you have to expect at some point people commenting on it are going to give you the raw, unvarnished truth. And the raw, unvarnished truth is that the USA is shit.
And they're here to make up the numbers.
Yeah, they're here to make up the numbers. They haven't got any players from the USA, really. I mean, so that's maybe stretching it a little. Some of them live there. They mostly live there. But the no one's favourite country, fuck off. Namibia, Ross, what have you got for us?
So I think Namibia are liked in the cricketing circles. I think that is fair to say. Like,
agree.
They are plucky. They are like actually quite fun. They've still got most of the bomb squad intact in the middle order. They are coached by a guy called Craig Williams, but supported by Gary Kirsten. So there is some talent in the coaching ranks. Gerhard Erasmus is the captain still. Hasn't got a particularly good record at winning games in the World Cup, but He's still in charge. He's still their best batter. They've got JJ Smith, who is their best all-rounder and has had a very good African qualifiers, where he's the third run top scorer, and I think they're leading wicket taker. Ruben Trumpelman is in town, ladies and gentlemen, the fast left-arm bowler, who we really wanted to see in like the IPL or something like that, but it never really materialised. And they've also got their leading wicket taker in T20 internationals in Bernard Schultz, who is slow left arm. So the conditions may well suit the Namibian. Chances, as Pakistan will forfeit their game against India, second place, as we've said for the others, is wide open. So T20 being high variance, them actually being pretty good at fielding. And I do think they're probably better than the USA. And I think it is a shootout between them and Netherlands to win that game. But going all the way, I mean, that's lottery odds of like, 10,000 to 1. So, yeah.
What, to win the World Cup?
10,000 to 1?
Group stage?
No, to win the World Cup.
Oh, it's way more than that. Oh, it's way more than
100,000 to 1. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What? Like, you'd need so many plane crashes. Let's be reasonable.
And then, so rating-wise, batting, they've actually got some people who can hit the ball, which is fantastic, and they can hit the ball to the boundary, which is even more important. So I've actually given them the best rating so far, 2.5 on their batting front for these minutes. I think they've got more.
That's bold.
I think they've got more to offer than the Netherlands on the batting front.
Okay. All right.
Bowling wise, I think it's perfectly fine, but I've given it a 2. I'm not entirely convinced by what they're offering there. Fielding wise, at the last World Cup, they did some pretty good stuff, and their percentages are also pretty good in the qualifiers. So why not? I've given the 3 on the fielding front, an all round front a 2.5. So yeah, I think Namibia are actually the third best team in this group. I prefer them to the Netherlands, purely on the fact that I just quite like Namibia. They haven't revealed their kit yet, gents, but you can imagine it's going to be like dark blue, grey, bit of red, bit of black. So yeah, there we are, Namibia.
Of the people listed as batters in the Namibia squad, 2 of them have got a strike rate of over 101.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they've also got a guy called Gerhardt. So,
you think he'll go hard at the start of the innings?
I'd also say in their recent matches in T20 cricket v the Netherlands, the Netherlands are 3-1 up with a 1-0 result, and in ODIs 4-1 up.
Yeah, so it's not pretty, but it's not. But
I'm defending the Netherlands, sir.
You got to look forward.
Okay.
The past doesn't exist, does it? So the future doesn't exist. There's only the present, and at this present time, I want Namibia to win.
Okay. No, look, I like that. I think they are a fan favourite in a way, aren't they, Namibia? Like I do. I've got time for them. I actually quite enjoy watching them play cricket. They play in the right way, as they say. Artists, let's do that, and then we'll wrap up part 1.
Basquiat,
part 2.
I've gone for quite powerful. I think it's there's all kinds of different shit going on. They really are flying the flag for the minnows, and I think standing up for what they believe in and doing it in their own style and way. So Basquiat is for me.
Cool. We're going to take another break, then we're going to come back and we'll start Group B. Our previews of Group B. We'll be doing Australia and Sri Lanka in part 3 of this show, and talking Oman, Ireland, and Zimbabwe to finish the show off. We'll be back in a moment.